Oh shit. Oh shit. Fucking red dots on top of shit. So as it turns out, the hole pattern isn't the same. This mount I bought during COVID, but it was old stock someplace on eBay if I remember right. So like this is the exact same mount Nothing Fancy had. Turns out they changed some shit on the newer ones. I'm gonna buy new mounts. Looks like it still managed to work. It's just there's extra weight there for no reason, so we're gonna fix that. The bipod is amazing. Like seriously. This is the Mo bipod, the all polymer one. And dudes, let's sit down to talk about this shit. Like, I have been wanting a better bipod for the M16 for my entire life. I always used the Vietnam era metal bipods because they were better than the Paris bipod, I think. Like, they aren't everything it's all cracked up to be because they like put pressure on your barrel and yada yada yada, but like I want something to set the gun down and walk away from it, and you know it needs to be lightweight. None of the rest of that shit matters. Like, am I gonna shoot off of this thing? This one, yeah, probably, because it's really fucking good. But I don't know, I never liked the Harris bipods. They're fucking shit, really. They were always the best that we had, but like finally technology has saved us. That's this thing in a nutshell. This is the xm16e8 moontiger. That's what I'm gonna call her. The next mod for this thing is probably fixing the flashlight, actually, because I don't like this thing, and I found what I want to put on it, and it's only like 120 bucks. So we might do that, but other than that, 20-inch barrel and some new internals. My goal with this gun is pretty much to have something that is like, it can flex into mini rolls. This could be a really shitty SPR. It could be a really shitty AR-RPK. It could be a very modernized M16A2. It's a lot of things all in one gun. The paint job is bitching, isn't it? Oh, and the Magpul dust cover. This thing is actually bitching. Every gun I build from here on out will have a Magpul dust cover. Loki will eventually get a Magpul dust cover on her new upper, probably, whenever that happens. Loki's gonna be real back burner because she doesn't really need all these upgrades, but I want to now that I did it to this one. If I do Loki, I'm toying with the idea of putting a 20-inch barrel on it too. Just saying, fuck it, that's what we do. It's probably stupid. I think the 16-inch has many benefits, basically for size and legalities and bayonets and yada yada yada. It's probably what I'm going to still go with, but I have the romantic nature of having triangular handguards, and they make, you know, rifle length and carbine length triangular handguards. They don't make mid-length ones. So it would be cool to get triangular handguards and one of those Faxon barrels with a fucking F-Mark front sight base on it, and build a modernized, like, triangular handguarded M16. Build it as light as we can instead of this thing being kind of as heavy as it can be, but while being light. This gun is going to be 80 pounds of lightweight AR-15 components. That's a thing that you have to watch out for. But I think at the end of the day, this is going to be the lightest, most capable fucking rig I've ever fucking seen. As far as, you know, what I want it for. I don't pay attention to a lot of other people's shit, though. I like to live in the past in some things because, to be honest, people are quick to throw away shit that works for shit that is of a dubious nature. I don't like being that way. I'm going to do more videos on this as it gets camoed and shit. This thing, I think I'm going to hold off camoing that scope and mount until I get the new mount and new scope, maybe. And then just retire that 2-7 in its fucking crazy ass form that it is. Because, like, in reality, I'd like to get a Vortex for this. And if I already have to buy the new mount, I'm not gonna buy another fucking setup like this and fucking keep this thing in reserve. I'll just keep this thing as an extra scope in its Weaver mount. And then build a whole new rig with a Vortex and this red dot on it. I keep bouncing back and forth between 2-7, well, sorry, 1.5 to 5, or 3 to 9. The 1.5 to 5 is the Vortex 2-7. It's in the same scope body or whatever. They just made it. I think they wanted a better low-end performing 2-7, and they were willing to give up high-end to get it. And I don't know, we'll see. That's the scope I kind of have my eye on because of weight. The 3 to 9 is not that much heavier though, and it would give this thing capability like a motherfucker. Like, that may be the route we go. This is the gun where, like, we do the extra 2 ounces. You know, the other gun is the gun where we, shave the extra 2 ounces and have just a red dot and whatever. I think this thing is looking badass though. And when it gets a 20-inch barrel and has a camoed bipod with it, it's gonna look more badass. This thing, I think I'm going to keep, but I might camo it too, or I might get a green one. I would have gotten a green one of this, but they didn't make that in green. The only thing that's heavy on this gun is the barrel, pretty much. Even the fucking, like, milled upper bullshit, that's billet upper, which I think is hilarious on this, like, ghetto sniper build, that I have, like, the world's most ghetto billet upper. It's fitting. I think it should actually make this thing pretty fucking accurate, though. The Bear Creek barrels in it will shoot just fine. I just, I know me, and I know I want the extra long range performance, and I know I want the more advanced coating, and I know I want the pinned on gas block, and it's only $200. It's not much money. I keep floating back and forth on the idea of doing the Hansen barrel and getting a muzzle device of some sort that isn't an A2 birdcage, because if I get the Hansen barrel, it is not going to go as long as I want it to go. Basically, I want the barrel at the end of the bipod legs or past it, and the 20-inch will give us that. That's a looks thing, but, like, looks matter, I think. And I don't want my bipod legs hanging out there without the protection of the barrel, basically. If I could, I'd probably have the whole fucking barrel hand guarded, but nobody does that because of weight, and, like, there's probably good reasons to do. She's kind of a mean motherfucker, as she is with the 16-inch barrel. The scope red dot combo, I was thinking could be, on every carbine, kind of. Like, this is the replacement for the ACOG. It's not really. It's a little too heavy. I think you could take this concept here and build a scope of the future that would be the MACOG. That basically, it would be a mount made by Aimpoint to include a red dot like that in the mount, and to use either a scope that they make, or maybe just have it be a 30mm mount. So that this way your QD mount also is your red dot, and your fucking, like, 1 to 10 that you're going to put in there or whatever. Now you have a red dot and that. Like I said, I wouldn't go 1 to 10. I think the future of scopes is 2 to 10. But there is, like, what are we going to do on mid-ranger guns? Because this thing is kind of getting set up more and more like a long-ranger gun, but it's kind of meant to be a mid-ranger. because I'm not doing a whole bunch of crazy scope shit to this. I'm putting a hunting scope on this because basically I can shoot iron sights out to 300 or 400 yards. I know I can. This is to see what I'm shooting at mostly. As such, you know, I'm not that... I don't feel that I need the fucking parallax and shit, and I'm not going to adjust turrets in the field. I'm just going to shoot and then correct on the fly, Kentucky windage. I think that's what most people would probably do. Like, I think having turnable dials on your shit makes sense if you are like a professional sniper shooting at 1,000 yards in some Overwatch position in Afghanistan and shit. As like, hey, this is some budget call-out gear for the militia. That shit don't make any fucking sense at all. It just doesn't. Not to mention the fact that, you know, the people that do that are in pairs and have a book where they're writing down everything that they're doing, and they have $2,000 scopes that allow them just to like turn clockwise and re-zero out the scope. So yeah, if you got all that shit, that is a huge thing. But like, if you don't have that shit, then what do you do? I'm so sick of like the tactical community on YouTube's answer to everything being to spend more fucking money. That's not the answer in life, usually. To be honest, this gun, as it sits, is hella dangerous inside of 500 yards. It's just got a 16-inch barrel on it. To be honest, half of the reason I'm doing the 20 isn't so much that I need the 20, it's that it does boost performance slightly, and I like it. You know, I like having an M16, and ever since I saw this thing with the fixed buttstock on it, everything I build kind of looks like an M16, but like if you look at my shit before, half of the shit I built before was M16s. I'm a big fan of like the triangular hand-guarded Vietnam era M16. Got a lot right. This gun, when you take all of its bullshit off, feels like a Vietnam era M16. Maybe a little bit heavier, but not by much. It's really a pretty trim gun. It's that scope and the bipod and light system that are going to fucking make it feel like an M16A2. But like, that's the thing you should get, is that at the end of the day, this is going to feel like a bone stock M16A2. And it's going to have all these capabilities. Well, I will do more videos on this as it gets camoed and whatever, and hopefully I'll get the tripod out for the next one. I don't know, I think I do pretty good handheld, all things considered. The cameras aren't as bad as they used to be, and I'm pretty steady-handed. Look at me pan. Isn't it a beautiful pan? I'm like a steady cam, bitch. Steady cam that laughs. Go buy your Magpul dust cover today. It's only $15. Honestly, go buy that Mo bipod too. I haven't bought Magpul shit in forever because I just thought that basically they kept doing the same thing over and over again, and I didn't like it. What they should have done is this lower, because like this lower, you know, it's KE arms or whatever, but part I love, they picked the grip that I like. I like the Magpul MOE. I'm going to wrap that in shit like this thing has eventually, but for now it's on the fucking workbench kinda. That's why it doesn't have a sling either. It has a sling in the other room, and I'm gonna have this thing slung Israeli style, because I don't know how else to fucking do this one. It's gonna be it's too heavy to fucking carry around slung in any other way, basically. That's why, like, this is slipping into the role of like a support weapon, really, but in an ultralight context for civilians and militias and whatever. I have a video on YouTube called The Light Automatic Rifle Concept. It's worth watching. It's from years and years ago. I was 600 pounds when we filmed that, I believe, as I can barely talk in it. And, yeah, man. This thing is its intellectual successor. This is the ultralight automatic rifle concept in a lot of ways, because like, what do we need to do? Do we need to take one accurate shot? Well, that may be useful, but like if you're like red dawning it, that's not that useful, and that's what I set up my ship for. Because Wolverines. See you guys later.